tell me wagwan.
From the cosmic heights, planet Earth appears as a unique entity, revealing itself to be more profound than the differences and intrigues that exist on its surface.
Boom.
The Interplanetary Podcast. The exploration of space for the benefit of all mankind. Your hosts here in London, Matthew Russell and Jamie Franklin.
Guess who said that?
No idea. Hit me.
It's only the wonderful Dumitru Prunariu.
Hey, hang on a second, Jamie. That's our Astronaut of the Week.
Oh, what are the chances?
We've got an interview with him as well.
This is already a classic episode.
You said, let's talk about animals in space.
Yeah.
Now, what is the 60th anniversary on the 3rd of November?
Is it Mutnik?
It's Mutnik. I love that, Mutnik, yeah. Laika.
This is literally...
Laika.
This is very, very weird because as much as I come across very intelligent and like I've done lots of research, I just plucked that out the air, didn't I?
Yeah, so obviously this was to sort of further rub salt into the wounds of America. Sputnik 2, flying a dog into space. So
I know.
So that's the first dog into space. So that's got me thinking, what else? What else has been into space?
I mean, I don't know if we're going to have enough hours in the day to list them all.
No, we're not.
Absolutely ridiculous, as we found out.
It is absolutely insane how much stuff has been in space. But I tell you what's really funny is that there's quite a few firsts. So obviously, Laika is the first dog into space. In fact, it's the first No, it's not the first dog into space anywhere near. It's the first dog to be first animal that's ever been in orbit, of course. Sputnik 2. So the first Sputnik, a little silver ball doing radio signals. The next Sputnik, a dog going round the Earth. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it?
That is pretty crazy.
Now, it did
1957.
Yeah, they did say that Lake had sort of survived a long time in orbit but died on re-entry. It's not quite true. Apparently, years and years later, they did release that poor old Laika had died from heat exhaustion, I think. As in, I think the one of the life support systems had packed up pretty much immediately in getting into orbit. So that's the first
all the way
death.
through this, we'd like to stress that we do not encourage animals in space, and we feel very sad of the ones that have passed away because we decided as a human race to take them up.
Yeah, well, I did read another article by a NASA scientist, and they were saying how they take animal welfare, of course. It says the institutional animal care and use community looks at, and sorry.
Do you see what you did there, Matt? Sorry to stop you, but you said use, and that's a sheep, so that's very funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Sorry, the institutional animal care and use community looks at the most humane alternatives for taking animals into space. Regulations for animal research are more intense than for using people in research because people can give consent.
This is the thing, you know?
Yeah, so animals don't go into space that often these days. But in the original space race, animals were going up left, right and centre, as we shall hear. So
they absolutely were. Where do you want to start?
Well, how many nations do you think have flown animals into space?
Oh, I'm going to take a legitimate guess and say 20.
20? No, Jamie, that's a ridiculous guess.
Oh.
Do you know the White Stripes, Seven Nation Army? The original lyrics of the song were Seven Nation Animal Space People. But it didn't sound as good, yeah.
I don't think so.
Ding, 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 ding. The Soviet Union, the United States, France. France have been at it. Argentina is the surprise one for me. China, Japan, and another surprise entry, Iran.
Did Argentina also cook a steak up there?
I hope they did.
They love a steak.
So, who were the first inhabitants of Earth to circle the moon? And this was on Zond 5 in 1968.
Wasn't it a fly? Was it a fruit fly?
2 tortoises.
Oh.
Along with a bunch of insects. But yeah, 2 tortoises on Zond 5.
I love that, with a bunch of insects. Do you reckon they got on? Do you reckon there was much banter on the flight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the tortoises...
Guys, look out the window.
There's a woman called Laura Lewis who works at the NASA Ames Institute of Animal Care, and she says that within 5 minutes, mice are floating in their living spaces, grooming themselves and eating just like they would on Earth.
See, it doesn't seem to freak them out that much.
Doesn't freak mice out, but I'd imagine that all the dogs...
Oh, God, yeah.
USA launched flights containing monkeys and primates primarily between 1948 to 1961. 70% of them died. So that 70% of the monkeys and primates that went up in that era died.
Yeah, it's not good.
And then they did one more flight in 1969 and one more again in 1985.
Okay.
France launched a couple of monkeys in 1967. The Soviet Union and Russia launched monkeys between 1963 and 1996. So, yes, the first animals sent into space, not round the moon, but the first animals that went into space were fruit flies. You were correct on that front, on a V2 rocket.
Okay, let me interject slightly and ask you, were they primarily just seeing if the animal would survive, or were they doing more scientific studies than just that? I mean, I assume they were doing tests when they got back, but primarily, is it just to say, look, if we can send this mouse to space and it's all right when it gets back, then we'll be okay?
Absolutely. It was all about literally finding every single shred of evidence that they possibly could to see the effects of space travel on humans, and that's still the reasoning behind sending animals into space. This is that's still it. So the fruit flies went up in 1947, and they went 68 miles high. That's just over the Kármán line. So they were indeed the first animals in space, or first creatures into space. Then the first attempt to launch a monkey into space failed, and that was a rhesus monkey called Albert I. And he died of suffocation and didn't even reach the space line. He only got to about 39 miles high.
Oh, Albert.
But his successor, Albert II, another rhesus monkey, which is quite famous. You'd recognise Albert II, the rhesus monkey, because his picture's been used on... I'm sure his picture's been used like on a Nirvana album cover. I can't remember which one it is, but there's definitely like a famous band that have used it.
I know exactly what you're thinking of, and you're thinking of the Pixies. I believe you're thinking of Debaser.
That's right. That is right. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. So, yeah. Albert II died on impact, but did actually manage to get out into space. The parachute failed to open, and the poor old chap went flying down and smashed into little pieces.
Oh, God.
And then they sent up more monkeys on Albert III and Albert IV, and then on Albert V, they just flew a mouse into space on a V2. How about that?
Tell me that Albert III and IV survived.
I think they did. Yes, I think they did.
Okay,
but they only went into space.
Slight happy ending.
Yeah, but they didn't go into orbit. So remember, the first orbit is Lake of the Dog. On 22nd July...
They didn't even orbit. These animals are idiots.
No, I know. On 22nd July 1951, however, the Soviet launched a flight carrying the dogs Tizen, which stands for Gypsy, and Dezik. They both went into space. Now, I believe, just as a sort of quick fact here, that they often chose female dogs because they're much more placid and more likely to sort of stay calm. So there's a kind of element of the type of dogs that are chosen.
Okay.
Yeah. So that they went up, and the two dogs were the first living higher organisms successfully recovered from a space flight. So that was in 1951. So no, actually, Albert III and IV must have died. Because these two dogs were the first two dogs to come back. They both survived that flight, and one would later go on to die in another flight.
I'm just going to have nightmares. This is what's going to happen.
Well, you're the one that wanted this. You're the one that wanted this.
I know. I instantly regret it.
And then And then the Americans thought, well, let's fly up a squirrel monkey named Gordo, who they called Old Reliable. They flew him up to see if they could sort of get try and compete with the Russians. Gordo survived 10G of launch, 8 minutes of weightlessness, and 40G on re-entry. However,
here we go.
the nose cone that he was in sank downrange from Cape Canaveral and was not recovered. So, gosh knows if what happened.
So,
to
are
him.
they making little? I assume they're making them all little spacesuits.
Yeah. Oh no.
Apart from the rat, the rats and the mice. Because what can you do?
In about the year 2000, I actually visited the Cosmos Space Center in Moscow, and it was like it's a bit like the Science Museum except dedicated to space. And in there was a bunch of dog spacesuits, which are really cute. They're like
That's cool.
They were really, really cute. They're like almost like a little bag. Although they were, from memory, they had little legs where the front paws went through, and then a kind of screw-on helmet. So
Can we put a picture up on our Instagram
we should definitely
of exactly that?
Yeah, we should try and find the dog spacesuits because they're pretty cute things.
I assumed that they'd also have to put nappies on them because without getting too graphic, you wouldn't really want to zero gravity start cleaning that up.
Yeah, well, some of these dogs and monkeys are out there for some time, as we'll get onto. So, a rhesus monkey, Abel, from Kansas, and another one, a squirrel monkey called Baker, who was from Peru, rode in a missile, and that went 360 miles high, so that's way above the International Space Station, and they withstood 38G, weightless for 9 minutes, went at a top speed of 10,000 miles an hour, survived a 16-minute flight. Annoyingly, Abel died 4 days after from an infected medical electrode, but Baker became a sort of celebrity, and she was even mated in an attempt to test her reproductive system. Yeah.
Blimey.
And she lived for a long time, until 1984, and lived in Huntsville, Alabama, at the US Space and Rocket Center as a celebrity. Yeah.
And do you think that they look down on the Earth and say, if only the politicians could see this, they wouldn't fight anymore? We'd all just get on.
So, yeah, these creatures would have seen what we only dreamed to see. 1959, Marfusa was the first of what type of animal to get into space?
1959. I'm going to have to say that it was a rabbit.
It was a rabbit. Yay! The Russian rabbit.
Did they take up enough carrots?
Well, I hope so. And, of course, it had pretty good eyesight as a result. 1959... The Americans then, to compete, launched a couple of frogs and 12 mice. But the rocket blew up on the launch pad.
Oh,
God. Uh-oh. And then, two very famous dogs. 1960 was Sputnik 5 carrying Belka and Strelka, along with a grey rabbit, 40 mice, 2 rats, and 15 flasks of fruit flies.
Oh, it sounds like a horrible drink.
You wouldn't want to swig that back too quick.
I just have a water, thanks.
No, it's all right. You're going to have a flask of fruit flies.
Oh,
yeah.
Blimey.
Imagine accidentally picking that up on a sort of camping trip.
So, who was riding with them?
That's it.
I mean, that's a lot of animals.
I think they sent Noah. Noah was the first person in space.
2 by 2.
Sputnik 5,
Lord.
So Belka and Strelka were on Sputnik 5, and it was the first spacecraft to carry animals into orbit and return them alive. So that is Sputnik 5, Belka and Strelka.
Some silver lining of all these deaths.
And get this, so one of Strelka's pups, Pushinka, bred and born after a mission, was given as a present to Caroline Kennedy by Nikita Khrushchev in 1961, and many descendants are known to exist. So how ace would it be to have a dog?
Very cool space dog.
I might try and see if I can go to America and find myself a space dog.
That sounds like something you'd do.
Yeah, I'm
fully backing it. What a podcast that would be.
Bear in mind, this is still before Yuri Gagarin. So then USA sent black mice, Sally, Amy and Mo, and they were retrieved in good condition. So there we go. So the Americans managed to do it as well.
Good.
And then in 1961, this is the thing that annoys some people, is that they sent Ham, was the name of the chimp, was launched in a Mercury capsule aboard a Redstone rocket. And he was trained to pull the levers and receive rewards of banana pellets and avoid electric shocks. That's the bit I don't like.
Oh, Christ. Yeah.
And his flight demonstrated the ability to perform tasks during space flight. And it was only 3 months later that Alan Shepard went into space. Now, so they could have sent Alan Shepard on that flight and beaten Yuri Gagarin. Imagine how annoyed Alan Shepard was.
My Lord.
So
Did PG Tips employ them afterwards?
What, Alan Shepard or the dog?
I was thinking.
The Ham the chimp. God.
Yeah.
No, I just got on to the next bit. Before they attempted to get Yuri Gagarin into space in April 1961, 12th of April 1961, at least Russia had sent at least 11 or 12 dogs up into orbit. Yeah. So the first chimpanzee into space was called what? Do you know?
I don't know. Tell me.
Enos was the first
that's
chimp.
A good name.
And then a Sputnik, Korabl Sputnik 4. So that's not Sputnik 4, it's Korabl Sputnik 4. Was launched for the first time in 1961. What animal?
That was, I'm going to say a rat.
Guinea pig. Little guinea pig.
Oh.
Yeah. But France flew up a rat in the same year.
Oh, right, yes. Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah.
And their rat was called Hector. Hector the rat, it went up into space in 1962. But then in 1963, the French flew a cat.
First cat.
Félicette. The cat went up on an AGI sounding rocket.
I mean, they get nervous when you turn the Hoover on.
No, I know.
Let alone a rocket.
15-minute flight the cat had. And unfortunately, when they sent a second cat into space, they didn't get to the capsule on time, and the cat died while waiting to be rescued. And then a bit later in 1967, the French also launched some monkeys. So, yeah, the French have been quite successful at the old animal launches. So what year do you reckon the China got into action?
Now, I know this. This was 1964 and 65 with rats, and then 2 dogs in 66.
Yes.
I'm just happy that they weren't cooking with them, Matt.
Yeah, and do you know what the Spanish contribution to this is?
Go on.
Chucking a couple of goats out of a window.
Come on, that's got to be a lie.
So the Soviet Union launched at least, get this, 57 dogs.
Jeez.
Although some of them were more than once, so it wasn't 57 dogs, but 57 launches with dogs in it. Blimey. More than 60% of the dogs who went into space suffered from constipation and gallstones, and they ate a nutritious jelly-like protein.
Nice. So I assume, Matt, that they're that just like humans, their bones deteriorated, and they had to make sure that the animals exercised whilst they were up there for a period of time. And when they came back, were they sort of 2 inches shorter?
No, I don't think they were up for that long.
Long?
No,
right.
There was a lot of training, though. That got them acclimatised to boxes and confined them for 15 to 20 days at a time in a box.
Yeah.
They always used stray dogs, and the training included standing still for long periods of time, wearing spacesuits, riding in centrifuges. In fact, you know what? Actually, that was another thing that I've just remembered when I was in Russia, was watching a sort of grainy video of 2 monkeys in a centrifuge, and they look terrified. And there's this bit where one reaches out to the other one and they hold hands. It's absolutely
God, that's heartbreaking.
It is absolutely heartbreaking. It's like, no way. But get this, Argentina launched a Kai monkey in 1969 as part of Operation Navidad. And as you know, that's Operation Christmas.
Well, I feel so depressed, Matt. You need to give me some good news.
Okay, so on Apollo 16, that carried some nematodes Nematodes are a crazy creature.
What are nematodes, Matt?
You find them in the soil. They're a very, very basic multicellular animal that is just about one of the most important animals to life on Earth when it comes to sort of moving around the soil and doing stuff. But it's if you ever want to look up something amazing, look up the nematode that's been built with Lego. And it's essentially is a nematode, because what they've done is it's a computer program that is mapped neuron for neuron a nematode. So it thinks it's a nematode. It's called the Nematode Project. It's one of the most fascinating and amazing things ever.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to be Googling afterwards.
Yeah, it's incredible. So Apollo 17 carried some pocket mice, although one died on the trip. Skylab 3 had pocket mice and some fish. So here's a question for you.
Fish in space.
Could a fish swim without the water? So, like, put it into the International Space Station. Could it swim in the kind of air that's in the International Space Station?
But
maybe
surely it would need the water, no?
Well, why do you think it would need water? Because it takes the oxygen out of the water, and of course there's oxygen in the air, and it could just sort of float in the air and sort of use its normal skills to kind of swim through the air. You know, like those.
There's oxygen in the air, but if you take a fish out of water, it'll die.
Yeah, but that's because the gravity crushes its gills.
Is that why?
Yeah, it needs the buoyancy of the water to help it, but the gravity wouldn't be there to kind of ruin its
I never knew that.
Yeah, so I don't know is the actual answer. So maybe a really clever listener could actually tell us whether a fish can actually swim around successfully out of water in the. I'd suspect not. Yeah, I suspect water is required to sort of carry the oxygen over into the gills, but I don't know. Maybe I think when they dry out, they probably die pretty quickly. Russia had a few bion programs where they actually did carry a lot of animals. They monkeys in particular. They had 8 monkeys, but one of them died, and it was from that fatality that they decided to call it a day. So that was in the 1980s, and the program was cancelled. And there was apparently a massive inquiry about it. It was totally unacceptable by that point for the Russians to think that it was okay. Well, I mean, they genuinely were upset that they'd killed a monkey in space. So obviously times have changed by the time we get to the 80s, both sides of the Atlantic. So, yeah, the US sent 2 squirrel monkeys on Spacelab 3 on the space shuttle. So, yes, monkeys have been on the space shuttle with albino rats and stick insects.
Right.
And then China launched some guinea pigs in 1990.
Yeah.
Toyohiro Akiyama, a Japanese journalist, carried Japanese tree frogs to the Mir space station. So frogs have been on Mir. And Japan launched its first animals, a species of newt, into space on the 18th of March 1995 on the Space Flyer Unit, the SFU. Yeah, there we go.
If I dress up like a tree frog, maybe they'll carry me on. That could be my one chance to get on the space station, Matt.
Yeah, I don't see why not. The Chinese spacecraft, the Shenzhou 2, launched on January the 9th, 2001, and the capsule contained a monkey, a dog, and a rabbit. No images of the return module were published, and this kind of makes us think that maybe the parachute failed and all did not survive.
Right.
There was only one survivor of the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster, and that was a nematode found, still alive from the disaster that was the Columbia flight. Unfortunately, silkworms, spiders, and bees, and ants, and a Japanese killfish all died in that, along with obviously the crew.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a very, 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 very varied thing. But my favourite animal that goes into space, do you know what it is? I'll give you a clue. They're sometimes called moss piglets.
Moss piglets?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's the one that looks like...
water bears, sometimes called water bears.
Yeah. Now, what is the name of it? You're going to have to tell me. I remember looking at this. It's incredible.
My favourite
Aren't they the most... They're the
hardiest thing ever.
The hardiest animal ever. It can survive anything.
Yeah, it's called an extremophile.
That's it.
Yeah, no, but
Wow.
its name is tardigrade, so it's called a tardigrade.
That's
Is the actual? Loretta likes to call them accidentally calls them tardibigs, and tardibig is a town, well, a little village near where I come from, which has the most amount of canal locks in the world. Tardy
Well, there you
big.
go.
But tardigrade is what they're called, and they managed to survive 10 days exposed to open space. So they literally were on
Wow.
the Photon M3 mission, the European Space Agency, in 2007, and that's where we discovered that tardigrades could survive just open space. Yeah, what of it? Not even
That is
bothered.
insane. That is insane.
No, here is another amazing fact.
Go on.
What creature is going to be here even when all the humans are gone?
Well, obviously the tardigrade.
Not just them, bigger than a tardigrade.
It's got to be a cockroach.
It's the cockroach.
They're the ultimate survivor, yeah.
So the cockroach were carried inside a sealed container and taken up, and they have become the first creature to produce young that have been conceived in space. So the European Space Agency has had live births of a creature in space. How cool is that?
See, we did talk a while ago, didn't we, about has there been any nookie in space? And there obviously has been.
Yeah, cockroaches. Mind you, they can. I've got a horrible feeling that cockroaches can self-reproduce. So I think a female cockroach can carry on having babies regardless, and can a female cockroach on her own can start a whole new colony.
Jeez.
Yeah, so,
that's pretty grim. Matt, if we're ever out and I catch you self-reproducing,
you can shoot me.
I'm going to call the cops.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair enough. Get this. So Iran. This was the one that I thought was crazy. Iran sent a monkey on a Pishgram rocket.
Okay.
Footage exists, but remember Jonathan McDowell, who was on our show a few months ago? He reckons that the footage is from another launch, and therefore he seems to think that possibly that monkey died. But Iran did actually manage to get a rhesus monkey called Aftab and Fargam and sent them up separately into space and returned them live. And then I think they're studying the effects of space on a baby that they've subsequently begat, I should say.
Wait, when you say baby, you mean the baby of the monkeys?
Yeah, the two monkeys that went into space separately. Then they had a baby, and then the researchers are studying the effect on that baby.
I was worried you meant human baby then, and that would just be too far. Too far.
Have SpaceX been in on the act?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they have. SpaceX have carried up 20 mice to the ISS on their CRS-4 mission, and on CRS-6 delivered 20 more. When a reused Dragon capsule came back down to Earth, I believe it was carrying mice. I think we mentioned that on the show when a SpaceX capsule returned to Earth.
I remember now.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey, that is nuts.
Yeah.
That is nuts. Well, I just hope, Matt, that it doesn't happen too much more.
No, can I just finish with a bit of a depressing
what we've
note?
needed to learn. More depression.
Yeah.
Go on then.
For the most part, returning animal test subjects are immediately dissected so that research can study in detail how spaceflight has affected their bodies.
Matt, what are you doing to me?
The deputy program scientist, Tara Rutley, described it like this. Every single component is used for gaining knowledge, gaining understanding of what happens on long-duration space flights. Every single component.
Oh, God, that's grim.
Oh, man.
Apologies to any veggies listening.
That is long. We've got
well, you know what?
half
now
an hour
we've
of talking
done
about animals in space.
We never need to do it again.
Man.
It's closure. It's
It is closure. So, Astronaut of the Week.
Oh, yes.
Dumitru Prunariu.
It was so lovely, wasn't he? I know we keep saying it, but they were all lovely.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Some of them, I'll just say this. Some of them more lovely than others. Matt, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I hear what you're saying.
But we've got another great one today, haven't we?
This one was a lovely one.
Definitely a lovely one.
He's, really lovely guy. and he flew into space on Soyuz 40, Salyut 6 space laboratory.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. So he's the first Romanian cosmonaut.
Big up yourself, Romania.
And he studied at the University of Bucharest and has a degree in aerospace engineering. And then in 1978 was part of the Intercosmos program. May 1981, so it was an 8-day mission aboard Soyuz 40 and the Salyut 6 space laboratory. So it's one space mission, and he became the 103rd human being to go into outer space.
Nice number.
And he's a founding member of ASE, or the Association of Space Explorers, which now has over 400 members, all of whom have flown into space from 36 countries. Probably more now, because that was as of 2015. So I would imagine, I wonder if Tim Peake's probably been, so that probably makes it 37 countries.
Definitely.
And his PhD thesis produced new developments in the field of space flight dynamics. Yeah. So Soyuz 40, by just so you know, was the last of the original Soyuz spacecraft.
Ah, okay.
So shall we just go straight over
Let's go in
and listen? Let's roll the tape.
Nice.
Boom.
It's time for Astronaut.
I'm Dumitru Prunariu from Romania. I flew into space 36 years ago in May 81 on Soyuz 40 mission on board Salyut 6 space station. I accomplished a lot of experiments on behalf of my country, and I returned safely.
That's good to hear. So our first question is, looking back over your amazing career, what's the one day that if you could go back, you would go back to that day?
Oh, it's amazing. I would go back to the day before landing.
Okay.
When I was still on board Salyut 6, because actually when I arrived at the Salyut 6, it looks to me that I have plenty of time to do all my experiments, to live there, to feel the weightlessness. And during the last day, I just feel a shortage of time, and I really wanted to spend more time up there into space.
I bet.
So I'll be back.
Of course.
Absolutely, hope so. So we're obviously in ESA. Can you give us some kind of feel for how important ESA is in terms of the entire space
Actually,
story?
ESA represents not only Europe, but represents individual countries as well. There are a lot of programs, mandatory programs, and non-mandatory programs within ESA. And Romania, it's, by instance, it's a full member of ESA from the end of 2011. And we invest quite a lot, comparing with the size of the country and with the GDP. We invest quite a lot in the space, and we are very happy doing this, because we see results. I think Europe has a big mission in being one of the forefront countries in space activities. Besides the former Soviet Union and the USA, which invested a lot in the space infrastructure during the Cold War era, when the political reasons pushed them to invest so much, now cooperation represents the main insight and input for the countries to go together and to explore space. And ESA is characterized by cooperation between the member states. We are now at ESTEC. It's an open day, and we already have more than 10,000 visitors coming here, listening to us, coming with the children, asking for autographs, for pictures together, and listening with big attention what we astronauts and cosmonauts tell them about our experience in the space, about what happened now into space, and what could be tomorrow the future of their children.
Now that leads nicely onto my next question. A couple of weeks ago, we had Elon Musk talking in
Adelaide.
About his plans for Mars. Now, there's also a lot of talk about the moon, which he touched upon as well. Do you think we should be focusing just on Mars at the moment, or do you think the moon is important first step?
Actually, moon is very important for the Earth, because moon is very close. Moon, it's right here. 380,000 kilometers. It's quite nothing comparing with the long distances to Mars. And I was there at the International Space Congress, and I listened to different presentations, and I've seen that the Russians now are focused on the moon because they consider much more important moon, much touchy, present. The communication is much faster and better to the moon than to the Mars. And the moon could offer us a lot of good surprises with respect to resources, with a base for further observation into space. The other side of the moon, it's very quiet from electromagnetic point of view. And the astrophysical observations could be made much easier from that side. And there are a lot of interesting things also with the moon. Of course, Mars is the next step. The Americans already were 50 years ago on the moon. So the next step should be another planet. And Mars, it's very interesting, very important. We see on Mars a lot of things connected with a possible life, rivers, maybe fauna, maybe flora, who knows? And we just want to discover what happened with Mars during the time and to determine what could happen with our Earth, because we are very close as planets. And the structure of the planets, it's very similar. So, investigating Mars, it gives us a glimpse of the future of the Earth. Investigating Moon, it's a problem of resources, of future business. The concept of the Moon Village, by instance, the Moon Village representing the fact that everyone who wants to investigate the Moon comes with something, and there do not compete to each other, but just get together and work together for the same purpose, investigating Mars, exploiting Moon. So the concept of the Moon Village, it's a very important one, I think, with respect to the exploration of the Moon in the future.
And if you could take a journey to either of them, which would you choose? If you could only choose one?
If I could choose one, for now, at my age, I would choose Moon.
Quicker to get back.
Yes, that's right.
Have you got a favourite space fact, like a kind of statistic about space that always continually blows your mind, that you love to tell people and say, hey?
The most important thing was the fact that when I arrived into the outer space, I was really amazed by the thinness of the atmosphere of the Earth. So it's so thin, and instantly you just acknowledge that within this atmosphere, there are living people, animals, plants, everything. It's in this very thin layer of atmosphere. Yeah. And really you have the feeling that you have to contribute with all your forces to the protection of the Earth and of the atmosphere. It's one feeling. The other feeling is that when you arrive up there, you feel very strong. You are a representative of the human race who builds a spacecraft, who builds the technology that allow you to fly up there above the atmosphere. At the same time, you feel very vulnerable. And you feel that in any moment you could be hit by something up there and just disappear. And these two feelings of the powerful of the human race and the vulnerability of yourself up there into space, it's a very strange combination.
I bet. Now, we've talked to a lot of people about their space heroes, and of course the people who first went to the moon are going to be up there for everybody, which they are for us. But is there anyone else who maybe you would like to shine a light on that isn't so in the spotlight, that you think deserves to be thought of as a hero?
With respect to the moon exploration, of course...
Or space in general.
Neil Armstrong, it's a pioneer. Neil Armstrong was the first one who stepped on another celestial body than the Earth. Besides that, you witness now a lot of extravehicular activities, a lot of work outside the space station. Hours and hours with a very complicated equipment, a very good one that ensured the life of the astronauts for hours outside the spacecraft and outside the space station. Don't forget, in 1965, Alexei Leonov made the first EVA, a very risky EVA, with a spacesuit that was not tested into the outer space, just on the ground. And when he went out, it just blew up a little bit and couldn't enter the spacecraft again. Yeah. He has to make a small desermatization of the spacesuit just to get back. They are pioneers, and they are the very first people that did amazing things into the outer space, and I have the full respect for all of them.
Absolutely, so do we.
Yeah.
So, our final question really is: what advice would you give to people who want to follow in people like your footsteps, and what advice can you remember people giving to you that really kind of you remember to this day and think, oh, that was the best bit of advice I had?
People, and especially young people, have to follow their dreams. If they have a dream to fly, to build something, to do anything, just to follow the dream. If they do things with passion, they will be successful. If they just are pushed by somebody else to do things they don't like, they will not be successful.
Absolutely.
Just to follow their dreams.
Yeah, just to do what you want to do.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
Incredible stuff. Well, thanks so much for your time, and
okay,
have a
welcome.
great rest of the day.
Okay,
Thank you. That was really great. Cheers.
Okay.
Real pleasure.
There we go. Tip of the cap, and thank you once again. Yeah, lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Was he
We're getting through these, aren't we?
Was he the first astronaut we spoke to that weekend?
No, that was, I believe,
Jean-Jacques.
Jean-Jacques.
Yeah, you're right. So we'll probably have Jean-Jacques next week, listeners.
Yeah.
So listen out for that. Jean-Jacques Favier.
Defo.
So
Matt, Wagwan in space news.
Wagwan in space news. Well, first of all, your mate Richard Branson.
Oh yeah, Brano.
He's got permission for Virgin Galactic to launch from Spaceport America. And don't tell me you've been to Spaceport America.
Oh, I don't like to go on about it.
So Pope Francis is planning to make a call to the International Space Station today.
What? Why?
Oh, he just wants to talk to the Expedition 53 crew members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wonder how many of them are Roman Catholic. Mind you, yeah, Paolo Naspoli's up there, isn't he?
Hey, Matt, they might not be Roman Catholic, but they're definitely Roman the universe.
Oh, yes.
Good?
Yeah.
Or I'll just keep quiet.
Yeah. Space news. There's a new film called Lunar Tribute, which tells the story of Charlie Duke.
Oh, sweet.
And it's basically an interview, it seems, with Charlie Duke talking about the photo that he's left on the surface of the moon. And all the way through, a drummer called Jojo Mayer is playing drums throughout. And it looks really, really cool. Like
wicked.
Black and whitey, grainy, jazzy drum, kind of super cool lunar tribute film by a bloke called Robert Lewis. Yeah, so that's worth looking out for. And unfortunately, we have a passing away of astronaut Paul Weitz, who was the NASA Skylab and the first Space Shuttle Challenger commander. He passed away at 85.
Good age.
Yeah. NASA is extending its Dawn mission over series for a second time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is one of the coolest things that I've seen, because I'd never really seen this thing before. There's a robot called Roomba, or Octograbber, which is a huge robot that lives on the drone ship Of Course I Still Love You. You know, the big thing that catches the SpaceX boosters as they come down. This thing's absolutely enormous. It looks like an enormous, giant, white Roomba. You know, those little vacuum cleaners that walk around. But it's like a sort of white version of that, but massive, like huge. Wow. When you see pictures of it, it dwarfs humans, and it's a robot. But it got damaged because when the last Falcon 9 that landed on Of Course I Still Love You landed, it flushed out its RP-1 fuel. It rolled across the deck and pooled in a certain area. And when the Falcon 9 flushed out its, and I love the name of this, triethylaminium trilathoborane.
Oh, you can say that again.
It's
okay, you don't have to, Matt.
triethylaluminium triethylaborane, or TEA-TEB, and that's used to ignite the first stage. When it was getting rid of some of that, it must have set fire to this big pool of RP1. The onboard drone ship managed to stick it, get the fire out itself with its onboard robot hoses. But unfortunately, the garage containing Octograbber was damaged. I've got to stick a picture of that up because it's absolutely crazy looking thing, and I've never seen it before. It's
weird. Do you know who else's nickname is Octograbber?
Go on then.
George Bush Senior.
Is that right? Octograbber.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
And then you can decide whether you want to edit that bit out of the podcast.
No, well, probably won't.
Leave it in. I'm
definitely leaving it in. Lego have brought out a Women of NASA set. I should have mentioned this on the last podcast, but I didn't. But I should have done because it's got Nancy Grace Roman, a computer scientist, Margaret Hamilton, and astronaut Sally Ride, who we featured as our astronaut of the week on episode 40, and astronaut Mae Jemison.
Good work, Lego.
One thing that I should mention is
Go on.
There was a Hall thruster. So a Hall thruster is these ion thrusters that get new modern spacecraft around the solar system, and there's one called the X3 that's broken all records. So this is a really, really cool thing because it means that we can more likely get astronauts to Mars, and it managed to get to 5.4 newtons of force compared to the previous record of 3.3 newtons. So that's the new X3 Hall thruster.
Sweet relief. Hey Matt, last week I gave you a space fact about a black hole.
Yes.
I've got another one. Do you want to hear it?
I'm all ears.
Here we go.
Yes.
For a person to become a black hole, they would have to be compressed smaller than a proton.
Oosh. That's quite a lot of compression going on.
I think we should have a third and final black hole fact next week.
Well, I can tell you an addition to that. I believe that if the Earth was compressed to the size of a marble, that would also make a black hole.
That is a lot of shrinkage.
But black hole the size of a proton would be one of those black holes that radiates enormous amounts of energy.
I mean, if they shrunk the Earth to the size of a marble,
Hawking radiation,
how
less.
Tall would I become?
Well, less than a proton, because you'd be shrinking down by the same amount, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's just cold out, Matt.
Oh, right.
On that
note, I think we've
got to call it a day.
We've got to call it a day. Oh my God!
But I tell you what,
space animal facts that is a crazy subject that I didn't know much about. But man, there's been a lot of animals in space.
God, way more than I thought. I thought you were just going to say 3 dogs and 2 monkeys, and that's it.
No, there have been a lot of monkeys and a lot of dogs.
Well, here's to the animals that have gone up and passed away. Here's to you.
Here's to you.
Sorry that we put you through that, as in human beings.
Jamie.
Yeah.
The Interplanetary Podcast. Putting the ace back into space. Nice. Good work. Thanks very much for listening, everyone.
Thanks for listening. As always, like, comment, subscribe, 5 stars, great reviews. We become rich.
Bosh.
We do more podcasts. Everyone's happy.
I like it. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
See you soon. Bye.